Facing imminent war with Germany, the King and Queen of England pay a visit to FDR.
So nice of you to come.
Mr. President.
Forgive me for not getting up.
The weekend grows more complex as the president considers American involvement in the war.
America could be persuaded to help.
The king seemed nervous.
Without some help from us, there soon might not be an England to be king of.
FDR finds personal matters as challenging as world affairs in Hyde Park on Hudson.
Hi, I'm Leah.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Liz.
And we're here to talk about Hyde Park on Hudson. We've all just seen it.
So it's directed by Roger Michell. It stars Bill Murray and Laura Linney, and it is written by Richard Nelson.
I really enjoyed this relationship that they developed between FDR, who's played by Bill Murray, and King George VI. This will invite comparisons, I'm sure, to the King's Speech because it has the same characters as the King's Speech.
Richard Nelson delivers a story that's bucolic and it's intimate, set against the backdrop of this looming World War event.
King George VI comes over to the United States to meet with FDR because he really wants to rally the support of the Americans to join the cause. I thought it was very interesting, this tale of two men who are leaders of their countries who each have certain deficiencies. Polio has riddled FDR, now he can't walk anymore, and of course the stutter with King George VI.
Well, that's what you think the movie's going to be about, is about these flaws of these two main characters, George VI and FDR. But really, the film, they tricked us, because the film's really about Daisy, who is FDR's fifth
or sixth.
I think fifth.
Because she's not even quite sure, I believe. And it really follows her storyline as she watches the first encounter of George VI and FDR.
You've got this very uninteresting wallflower of a woman who has no life of her own, really, and the most exciting thing she has is that she gets to have an affair with the president. I just think that the Daisy character is supposed to be this thread that holds all of these different events together, and unfortunately, it's a very thin thread. You can almost tell the whole movie without the Daisy character.
They insist on telling it basically from her point of view.
Right.
I mean, she really is the main character. She's got a voiceover that goes throughout the movie.
No king of England had ever visited America before, but now he was coming to Hyde Park on Hudson. And the only quiet place left to work was outside.
If you take all the elements on paper, this film is the perfect Oscar bait. We have a president who's a main character. We have his physical disability. You have the plot line of the Best Picture from 2 years ago, and it's told in a very unconventional way. All these moments that you think are supposed to be climaxes or little hills dramatically of the film specifically avoids those dramatic confrontations. Even though on paper it feels like Oscar bait, all of these combine to make a little bit of a mishmash.
But I do think it should get one Oscar nomination.
Uh-oh.
And that's for Bill Murray as FDR. I'm a little afraid he's not going to get the nod, though, because the role, it's not really flashy in its dramatics, but he really embodies FDR. I mean, I forgot I was watching Bill Murray.
Yeah.
And I think most people are gonna go, this is the guy who was Spackler in Caddyshack.
You didn't say anything about having a headache.
Well, he's not going to trouble you with everything, Missy. You have enough on your plate.
What does that mean?
It means, Missy, that you take very good care of me. It means that you do, too.
All the acting is great. It's fantastic. It's Oscar-level acting, I would say. But that's not the problem. The problem is the fact that everything's filtered through Daisy, and Daisy's just a kind of odd character who's not really well-placed in the drama.
Daisy's character is not well written enough, and I think that what's really lacking is a sense of purpose. And it's always dangerous to talk about what a film doesn't do, but some of these things could have been relatively easily remedied. I mean, a voiceover, a line of dialogue, where she says, my purpose for hanging out with FDR is to be a witness, to have been a witness to all of these events. But there were a lot of lovely things that the director Roger Michell did in this film. I think that he does a really good job with his DP in the framing of shots, and I think that composition plays a big part in making this film feel like a portrait. You've got people sitting on the edges of frames looking directly at each other, and the background is beautiful, and they look like portraits.
You really notice how much effort is put into the way the film looks and the way the film is composed. I mean, I really saw Michell's compositions and his deliberate nature about how he set up the camera. I thought that was really great. I mean, his films are very different from one another. I mean, he's made Notting Hill and Morning Glory, but he's also made Venus with Peter O'Toole.
Which is great.
He's capable of making lots of different pictures, and this one I think is more in line with Venus.
There's a delicate nature to Venus that I think this film has. There's great moments of silence in this film that really emphasize the awkwardness, and adding awkwardness to these scenes of major figures grounds them, makes them more interesting, and I love that. And then I think the use of light in this film is just amazing.
Hyde Park on Hudson is a beautifully shot film and has some very interesting content. Unfortunately, Daisy is not a strong enough thread to hold all of these elements together. I say stream it.
Hyde Park on Hudson, it tells an amusing story about FDR I didn't know, and I think that's worth a trip to the theater. So I'm going to say, see it.
Though there are obviously some major problems with this film, I did find it incredibly enjoyable because of its bizarreness and awkwardness, and for that, I'm going to say, see it.
Our votes add up to 2.5 tickets, which is a see it for Hyde Park on Hudson.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. How about those Roosevelts, huh?
We could have sold tickets for this dinner and made ourselves a pile of money.
It's all based off of secret letters and secret diaries that probably should not have been opened.